All right, today on the Earn It All podcast, we have Mr. Steve Eckert joining us from California. Gracious enough to come out here, bring his family, come be on the podcast. We did an awesome workout yesterday, which I still have some nice blisters on my hands from on the hot pavement.
I did not get blisters, so
well, maybe because you weren't doing what you're supposed to do or something. You know?
Yeah, that's a little sketchy. If there's no blisters, there's something off.
He got blisters. I got blisters.
My hands are softer now. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Maybe you just burned off your calluses or something. But Steve, we're really honored and excited to talk with you today. Quick little intro about you, and we'll dive into this. But husband, father, United States Marine Corps veteran, entrepreneur, huge in the men's development space, personal development, personal discipline. You have all sorts of personal development programs, fitness programs. You're a part of some, I'll call them boot camps or other in-person seminar type things that we're a big fan of. We'd love to unpack all that. But really having you here in person today is a great opportunity for us to tell more about who you are, your story, and why you do some of the things you do, especially in that men's development space, man. So thank you for being here.
Pure blessing to be here. And it's just grateful that I've ran into you two dudes. And there's not enough good men out there that you run into and you get a chance to train with and hang out with and talk. And I think these type of conversations that men need to be having don't happen enough. They avoid tough conversations. They avoid tough topics and issues. They just want to go watch the game, drink a fucking beer, and eat a bunch of shit food, and that's their connecting as men. Men need to connect on a deeper, more meaningful level, I think, and that's what's really missing right now with men these days.
Why do you think that is? Why do so many guys look for so many exits from getting away from hard talks and hard work?
Life has become easy. I think if you look at the numbers, testosterone levels in men these days are all-time low.
Yeah.
Fatherhood, men having kids is at an all-time low. It used to be that there were fatherless homes, and then it became there were just absent fathers in the home. Now it's just men not even becoming fathers, not even wanting to, or having any desire to become a father or lead another person, whether they're too scared or I think just it has something to do with the testosterone levels too low. They're living in a world of freaking comfort, and like right now, you could go on your phone and Uber Eats a fucking taco to you right now, and we'll sit here, and if it says it'll be here in 7 minutes, when it's 7 minutes and 1 second, we're like, what the fuck is wrong? Like, to go get a taco. Like, that's what we've become. And I even find myself doing. I even hate using those services sometimes, but they are convenient. They do save you time, but you get your Uber driver is late, and you're like, what the hell? You're watching them on the map when your taco is going to arrive, and it's like 3 blocks away, and it's sitting there. You're like, what are you waiting for, dude? Keep driving. Like, why are you stopping? We've gotten so comfortable and looked for the easy way out, and that's why you guys don't know this, and I have something to come clean on about when I do a podcast with someone, I have to train with them first. So even though I was already out here, probably if you would have declined a workout, I would have said, I got the flu or something. I can't make it. Like I need to train with someone. Like I need to know that you're my kind of people. Yeah. And it was awesome. We got such a cool, and I knew you two would work out. I've seen you guys train. I know you're savages and beasts, and I've seen the shit that this guy is doing is like not even human.
It's not.
And and so I knew you were going to come and do it, but that's like a prerequisite, like a requirement. Like I need you to be around those kind of people. I can't be around the people that make excuses and have the tattooed on my arm so I don't forget. No excuses.
Yeah,
and
love that.
Men just have gotten soft and weak. It's been going on for a while, but it has to do with, look at the movies, look at TV, where men are just made fun of. Ever since like the 80s when I was a kid, Al Bundy, Homer Simpson, they're just the doofuses. Look at all the comedy movies. The husband is always a fucking idiot, and the wife is making fun of him. She has to take charge and be the man of the house, and she doesn't want to be. The man thinks that she does, so he like abdicates the manhood and the fatherhood to the woman, and she doesn't want to do it, and they do it, and then they're all pissed off, and then he's wondering why he's unsatisfied in all areas of his life, especially in his marriage and his fatherhood.
Yeah. Dude, I love that you said about the workout thing, because we want to make that a requirement. Sometimes it's not always possible because the guy will land and come right in type thing. But when that was when that was an option with you, we're like, well, dude, of course we're doing that. Because from our perspective too, it's like, cool, we only know you up until yesterday from online. What's this guy like in person? Is he going to be totally over the top? Is he real? Like we never know. That's why it's so cool to work out together, because you learn a lot about someone when they're under duress, even during a workout. And yesterday was pretty freaking hot. Like I got cooked. Like it was hot, even though it was cloudy. But I was like, dude, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. Like maybe I have to drop my energy down a little bit, but I'm going to keep going. We're going to do the whole damn thing. But it was so super, super cool. And you were spot on that you said, hey, I got my kids and my wife with me, but they train like they're full grown savage adults. And that is 100% true, man.
Because you put a message, I think my son Tyson was sitting next to me when I was reading the messages.
Yeah.
And I said that I read the message that you asked how were they, and what kind of workout do we need to do to accommodate for the kids?
Yeah.
And he was offended. He's like, "Oh really? Oh really? Let's fucking go."
Yeah. Well, he kicked ass.
Yeah,
I mean, we were doing everything from bear crawls on the pavement to carrying. He's carrying 100 pounds, I think.
How much does he weigh?
Right?
How much do you weigh?
Like 115, 120.
So you basically
115.
pick up your body weight, and
Yeah.
that's insanely impressive.
That's like us carrying our body weight.
Yeah.
Hell, you ain't making it far.
That's insanely
No, not at all.
impressive.
Dead
It's-
weight.
It's one of the things that we kind of, as a capability standard, right? It's like you should be able to carry the average weight of an American female, right? And that's 175 pounds now. So you should be able to carry that.
Mhm.
Like as like at base level, that's kind of a way that we use to
What did you say? What was
100,
the?
175
And that's the what?
pounds. Average weight of an American woman right now.
I thought you were gonna say man. Woman?
No.
That's
Average
woman.
American
That's a whole
man
other
is-
conversation.
American
right there, I
man
guess.
is
Yeah.
195 is average weight right now, but the height is like 5'8" for the men, and then the height, I don't remember what the women's was, but anyway, it's a good way
Yeah.
for guys to be like, oh shit, like could I even carry my wife or girlfriend out of a situation if I had to? And most of them no, like most of them can't. Like
Yeah, most of our programs, we have a hill, not like the one you have out here, but it's a pretty steep hill. And that's one of the morning drills we do of the workouts is the men, even the kids have to carry another kid up the hill. We have a father-son program. The kids have to carry a kid. The men have to carry men. The women have to carry another men. Sometimes I mix them up purposely, and I'll put a little dude with someone like you. Like, what are you going to do?
yeah,
Like,
what are you gonna do?
if
Dead weight.
I'm you, I can't even trust another man. If I go down, he can't carry me out. And it's not even about trying to be like you're in the military or anything. Real life situation. Look at the real world. It could be a fire. You can get in a car accident. I
Right.
need to know that someone
100%.
can drag me out, carry me out. Like, I can't even trust you. If you can't carry me, I can't trust you. And I really can't even be fucking friends with you, really, when it comes down to it.
100%.
Well, that tees up one of the main things I want to ask you, Steve. Is there's two things, and you know this from reading The Way of Men. Two things that we look at when it comes to like men's development, in my opinion. One is like being a good man. I think that's a little bit easier to define. You know, like be good to your family, handle responsibilities, stuff like that. But then the other thing is being good at being a man. Because then it's like, well, what does it mean to be a man? What do I need in my toolbox? Like capability, skills, resilience, all these different things. So I wanted to ask you, like, in your opinion, we're talking about these guys that have life so easy, even if they're good men. They treat their wives and their ladies good, they're nice and all this kind of stuff. Like, that doesn't mean you're good at being a man. So what do you think a guy needs to really, hone in on to be good at being a man?
Yeah, all that original stuff, that's the price of admission. That's like, just to even be a man at all, that's like the borderline, the foundation that's needed. But I think most men are lacking purpose. There's got to be some purpose, something, being good at being a man is having something outside of yourself. You're no longer living for yourself. That's why I think fathering is such a huge thing. And I'm going to bring it up again because we talked about it yesterday. I think is leading other men, leading your family, having kids. I think we're meant to build, protect, provide, but build and create. We were created to create. We were created to lead, to step the fuck up, to stand up for people who can't defend themselves, to no one to speak up, no one to shut up. This is what it takes. Having that discipline and discernment and self-awareness and self-reflection and being a purpose-driven is what a man really needs to be. But I think men are meant to be fathers. And if someone can't be a father for whatever reason, I gave a statistic to Adam yesterday that 20,000 kids in the United States every year turn 18 years old in like foster care that were never adopted. So then they become adults and they're just put out into the real world. 20,000 a year. So they were in that whole system. So even the men who can't have kids, I think I'm a big believer that the purpose of man is to have kids. And I wish I would have had more kids than two at this point. And even if you can't have kids, you can adopt kids. So that's my call to Adam over here, that there's too many of the wrong fucking men having too many kids and too many of the right men not having enough kids. And so whenever I meet dudes like yourselves, I tell you, go make babies or go adopt babies if you need to. Like, dude, that's what a man needs to do. I was on Jimmy Rex's podcast a couple weeks ago. I saw you guys did a Spartan race with him. Yeah. And I told him the same thing. Like, he has no kids. He never used to want to have kids. And he started working on himself and he started thinking. So I gave him a challenge to go make some damn babies. Like, we need good men having kids. We're going in the wrong direction. We're digging deeper and deeper into this hole. There's more and more shit bags out there that are creating more and more shit bags instead of the good people are not having enough kids. And it's crazy. So whenever I meet men, I think that's what, to me, being a good man, creating leaders who create future leaders, being purpose-driven and creating other purpose-driven little people, other men, and your sons and daughters.
Yeah, that was a wild statistic. 20,000.
Yeah,
like
it's freaking nuts.
That's wild. So there's something that you put in the bio you sent us that I kind of wanted to unpack with purpose, right? And you talked about legacy, right? And so as a man, being good at being a man, being a good man, all that stuff. What does legacy mean to you when we were talking about that kind of thing? Like, what does your legacy mean? Is your legacy your kids? Like, what is your legacy?
I think people usually think of it a different way. They think, well, I want to have this type of business and leave this to my kids and this real estate and this money and all this stuff. And that's all great. Those are goals, and you should 100% should have goals. And I do. Like in my vision of one of the goals in the future is that I have this big freak fortress compound, like whatever, 30, 40, 50, 100 acres. And all my kids have their own several amount of acres of their own, and then their kids. And it just builds, that's like the future. But what if I go outside and get run over by a truck? Like I was coming out of the car just now, and some sketchy ass dude is coming up, and I'm like, what the fuck? Yeah. So you never know when your ticket's going to get punched. So you can't live off of that being your legacy. My legacy is this fucking second right now, sitting with you two, having this conversation. Nothing else matters. That is my legacy. How am I going to show up there? I have my two kids here with me, and they're watching, listening, learning from you two, learning from this. That is my legacy. And I ask my kids all the time. I'll ask them, am I even being a good father? I don't know. I'm a knucklehead. I am a fucking mess just as much as any other man. We're all equally fucked up. We're not any better than anyone else. We're just learning shit along the way. And as we learn something, we're doing something about it. So my legacy is this moment.
I like that a lot.
I'll ask my son, what do you want to be when you're older? And he says, I want to be just like you. That's what he wants to be, just like me. That's my legacy. Am I living to that like right now, this minute? Yeah. Like my father died a couple of years ago, and I almost didn't go to his funeral because I was at an event in Atlanta. My father died in New York. I live in California. I got a message that my father died. I had one of our men's retreats coming up on that Tuesday, and I told my family, if this funeral is not before Tuesday, I won't be going to the funeral. So to me, a legacy is every day, am I living a life that my kids are going to show up to my funeral? Not that they're going to be too busy and doing other things to show up to my funeral, no matter what it is. Now, this men's retreat is important, but if I had a father that I think the relationship should be like, I would miss out on the retreat to go there. 100%. But there was no chance I was going to miss this retreat to go to my own father's funeral. And I have a sister who just didn't show up to his funeral at all, just didn't come out. She lives in Florida, and she said if she was too busy, maybe the plane tickets were too much. So my legacy is this minute, today, this fucking moment. Am I living that my kids are going to show up to my funeral?
I like that.
Like the way that they look at me and see me. Am I leading them? My job, I think the job of a man, the job of a father, manhood, fatherhood, however you want to put it, is to put yourself out of a job, to replace yourself. My job is to replace myself, make such awesome little fucking people that I'm putting myself out of a job. Sure, I still have much more to teach them. But I asked my son the other day, also a couple of days ago, I said, we were getting ready to record my podcast, and he does the recording for me. And I said to him, if I die today, and I forget, it might have been the topic was legacy, I don't remember, but I was doing notes and prep, and it popped into my head. I said, if I die today, do you think I've left you with enough of a foundation to be a good man, a good future husband, a good future father, a leader? Like, have I taught you enough? Have I led you enough? Have I loved you enough at this moment? Like, that's legacy to me. That minute, the answer to that question, how fast are my kids' footsteps coming to the door when I show up at home? Yeah. That's my fucking legacy. All this other stuff, that's great. Those are goals, money. Yeah, I want to make a shitload of money and do awesome shit. But my legacy is how fast are those footsteps coming? Are my kids going to show up to my funeral based on how I'm living right fucking now, like in this minute with you? And that's the way I see it. Your legacy is right now. You don't have, there's no time to think about really the future and all that stuff. That may never freaking happen.
Yeah, I mean, you said this a couple different ways on here, but like whether you're a father, an uncle, or a mentor or whatever, like you nailed it. We need to be able to pass on our experiences and our lessons learned, what we have gotten from our elders and all that going on. And it's really hard to do that if we don't have anyone to pass it to. We were just in here yesterday talking with our friends from Method Endeavors. They do all sorts of operations and training when it comes to shooting and personal protection and all that kind of stuff. And that's happening a lot in the military right now, where a lot of the seasoned guys are getting out and they're not passing things down to the new guys. So if you think about like whole Army Ranger platoons basically retiring or getting out, if there's not a lot of transfer down, everyone's starting over, and it's a more dangerous job for them.
Yeah.
And the same thing happened when I was in aerospace at Lockheed Martin. A lot of the old guys that had like 40, 50 years experience working on all these classified projects are just retiring, and they're not passing all that knowledge down. So it's like, dude, we are not setting our next generation up to know even what we know. How are they supposed to get better?
Like tribal knowledge. They're not passing down that tribal knowledge, and it's starting all over. And now everything they learn, now times are different. They're starting from zero from these days, and that's their foundation, and that's their starting point. You're fucked if that's your starting point.
Yeah, the way Devin put it yesterday was so good. He's like, we don't want these guys making the same mistakes that we had to learn from, you know, and the way that he put it in the framing of framing of war specifically was like, we don't want the guys coming up right now, if we, you know, heaven forbid, have to go to Iran or something like that. We don't want these guys to make the same mistakes that we had to learn all this stuff from, you know, when we went to Iraq the first time, right? And the framing was so good because it was like, man, that makes a lot of sense. It's not just the experience. It's like, we don't want you to make the same mistakes because you shouldn't have to. We already have the experience.
Especially
we already know
in that realm. Like, because if you make those mistakes, what does that mean? Like, more people die. Like, we're talking about a serious business here. Yeah. You know, but then when it comes back to, like you said, like being a father, like I do agree, like either making them, adopting kids, or being a mentor to a bunch of kids, like whatever it is, I think that's super important for us men that are at least in the space of trying to develop ourselves and get better. Just pass on. It doesn't mean they have to like take every single thing as gospel from us, but like your kids, they're absorbing everything. I love it. You homeschool these guys, you know, your two kids, and they're like learning from, like you said, from us right now, just doing this. They get to see how you came in to be on this other podcast, how our business looks, what we do, what we value in you, and all this stuff. And that you're teaching them so much stuff that are not getting in school.
And I'll let you know how it goes. If someone's taking lessons from me on parenting, they may be all fucked up. I don't know. In about 10 years, my kids will either be like the presidents of the universe, or they'll be fucking serial killers. I'll let you know how my parenting style works. We'll see.
I have a feeling they're going to be okay.
We'll see how it works out.
Yeah, I think they're going to be just fine. So you were in the Marines, right? Back in the day. You did, 4 years?
Yeah.
And you got out, was it 01?
Yeah, beginning of 2001.
In the beginning of 2001? Yeah. So that was before 9/11?
Yes.
Yeah. So when did you get out? What month?
February.
And that happened in September. So dang, because I was just trying to piece it together in my head. Like, so what was it like being in the Marines then, and then getting out as that happened? Because 9/11 is a big reason that I went into the Navy. I was a junior in high school.
What year did you go in?
02 to 06.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, so I was a junior when I watched that go down in high school. You know, obviously classes were shut down, and I'm sitting there. I wanted nothing to do with college. I didn't like school. Like, I did okay with it, but I was like, I'm not retaining this. I feel like it's a waste of time. And I'm watching that, and a couple of days later, one of my friends, we were working at Sam's Club, comes in and goes, "Hey, I'm joining the Navy." And I was like, cool, I'll do that too. Like, I'm already feeling something tying in. So that kind of pulled me in. What was it like for you, like getting out right before that? And then like, oh man, a couple months later, this thing goes down. Was there any sort of like, did you feel like you wanted to stay?
Oh,
did you feel like you did enough? Or like, what did that feel like?
Yeah, of course. Weird, because during those times, it was there was nothing really going on. Little things here and there, but nothing. And believe it, I get a lot of shit from veterans. A lot of veterans that send me messages, talk shit online, because now we do these men's retreats, and we're 25 years later, and they're saying, because I was never in any combat. I was in the air wing, and okay, big deal. They say I shouldn't be teaching men or leading men because I wasn't in combat, because then they say they talk shit because I got out before the 9/11 happened. I'm like, I couldn't predict that Osama bin Laden was going to crash some fucking planes into the buildings.
Right.
And then they say, okay, well, you should have went back in. And at that time, I was still in the whatever, I think IRR it's called, like whatever, Ready Reserve.
Yep.
And especially when something like that happens, you check in on a regular basis. You have to check in to see if you're needed and try to get back in. And they let you know, if your MOS is needed, I was in the air wing, we will bring you back in. It's not like you could just go back in, and you try to, they won't just bring you back in, especially immediately. Like, I don't think they started going into reserves for a couple of years into it. Maybe in
it was 05.
It was 05.
It was 05 when they started doing that. Yeah.
And so even if you wanted to, depending on your MOS, because I was, of course, had to keep checking in because I was still in the IRR anyway. They weren't even accepting you in.
No.
And so I get shit. I mean, it's some veterans, and it breaks my heart to see it from coming from veterans. They tell me, I wish I was in combat with you. I would have shot you in the head and just said it was an accident. I wish you would have stepped on a landmine. Wow. You should see this shit. One told me I don't know what it means, but, and this is because he's a combat veteran, says I shouldn't be coaching men because I wasn't in combat, says I'll poop in your mouth. It's one of our, we screen, my son sees something, and I don't even see them all. Like either my assistants, I don't even get it. But it just sees me. I'm like, makes me a point of me says, of course I would want to help out when I can and be there with my brothers. But if I've seen a lot of veterans that came back, and I'm around a lot of veterans that have been in combat all the time,
dude.
And they say anyone who was in combat that wishes that you would have been in combat also is fucked up, because no one would wish that upon, no one would want someone to deal with it, because they say, listen, we're more fucked up because of it. It didn't make us better.
Right.
It didn't make us better leaders. It made us have to go rewind and restart and reset and come back. So it was a weird time back then, because we were in total peacetime. I'm in the air wing, and there's no combat going on. You get out, and then immediately it's war coming. It was a crazy time and a twisted time, and you're itching to go and help out. They're not taking reservists back in. You can't even get back in. Yeah. And what could you do? All you could do is, like the things we're saying, be a leader to your people. Continue. Everyone says they want to make a fucking impact, but then they're not doing anything to make an impact.
Right.
What can you do right now and even someone that's not in the military? What are they doing in their community, in their hometown, to actually make an impact, other than sit and bitch and complain and whine about stuff, or talk shit about other people and gossip? You wouldn't believe, I get dozens. Especially when our classes come around of the different events, I get hate mail like hundreds a day.
I believe
online.
it.
Hundreds. Like
the veteran community now is insanely, I hate to even use this word, but it's fucking toxic. Like, it's insanely toxic. Like, there's guys in there that are at each other's throats for absolutely no reason, because they did one more thing, or they did and it's like, dude, that fucking, I love that you said that. It's like, no, anybody who's actually done anything, been anywhere, or anything like that is not going to wish combat on another man. Like, combat means different things to different people also, you know what I mean? And it's like, and I was reading some of the comments because I was looking at like all your guys' videos and stuff, and I was reading some of the comments, and I was like,
you just feel grimy and disgusting. Like, don't do it too long. It'll fucking,
like, I know.
It'll make you feel dirty.
And I was like, man, you know what? It's funny, because if somebody told me right now, they're like, hey, we're going to go back to war with Iran, and, you can get back in. I'd be like, get fucked. Like, get fucked. I did 8 years. I deployed 6 times.
According to these people, you're a fraud, and for not going, why would you not go back in?
Get fucked.
Like, that's what they tell me. Like, so first they tell me I shouldn't lead men 25 years. First of all, in the Marine Corps, yes, I am a Marine. I'm very proud of being a Marine. But that was 4 years of my life. I'm 46. That's less than 10% of my life. What I teach men and in coaching, sure, I take leadership aspects of the Marine Corps and brotherhood in some proportion, but I've been had a shitty childhood. I had a father who was mentally and emotionally and abusive, and I've run businesses. I'm now a father myself. I've learned just as much or more that I've learned from the real world than in the military. Of course, I extract the lessons that I remember and learn, and a lot of things in the military, I think you don't appreciate it as much when you're in there. When you get out, you start realizing that's why we did it this way. You have a business, and I'm building the SOPs and the manuals. You're like, that's why they treat us Marines like fucking idiots. So like, when you walk into the building, turn right, lift on switch of light switch, push upward to turn on the lights. Like, they had a step-by-step for us idiots for everything. But then as I'm running a business and you're expecting everyone to know what they're doing, I'm like, fuck, I need to go back and see how they did so you extract those things I'm talking a decade later when I was running a gym, and I'm creating manuals for it, because I need to start growing and expanding. And just like fatherhood, I needed to work myself out of a job. I needed to create people who can replace me. Same thing in business, same thing in fatherhood, same thing in the military, in combat. You learn so many things that you didn't appreciate when you were in, and afterwards, like, you know what, like the brotherhood you had. And so, that's why it breaks my heart when some of these guys, these veterans, they're just fucking hurting from something, and they're lashing out. They see someone that maybe didn't do as much as them in the military, and I was in the air wing, and I was giving weather reports to fighter pilots. I'm sorry I scored high on my fucking ASVAB, and I got a fairly decent job, and we were sitting in air conditioning sometimes in San Diego. But that's what my job was. But it's also just a small percentage of what I've learned in life. I've learned so much more from a shitty childhood, and a billion times more from being a father. When it comes to leading other men and helping other men, learning about my own weaknesses and imperfections and how to work through them, and how fucked up I am as a man and what I need to do to be a better man. That's what I'm teaching other men. So when I'm out there screaming at them and we're doing push-ups and shit, we did push-ups in the military. Sure, we ran, but they're not only, they say, well, you're just pretending to be in the military, and they talk all this shit, but those just need a hug. I'm not even a hugger, but I'll hug those motherfuckers.
Yeah.
I have hugs for the haters.
For
That's
real.
exactly what it is. They're essentially jealous that you're doing what they're not doing.
Mm-hmm.
That's where this is coming from, you know.
Shining a light on their
especially
insecurity.
especially if they think they did something more important than you did. I was in Air Wing as well in the Navy. Like if they think they did something more important with combat, like I agree, they're way more dangerous, and I'm glad you're alive and all that kind of stuff. But it's like, don't project like where you're at in life now and maybe how you're disappointed in what you're doing on someone who's doing something now. Like being a combat veteran is not a prerequisite to having a guy get his shit together.
And I think in my head, if being in combat and a combat veteran was going to lead me to be a 40-year-old man who's probably on their third divorce and has kids that they see maybe every other weekend or something, and they're fucking sending hate messages to someone on the internet that doesn't even know they fucking exist, I think, thank God I wasn't in combat. Like, why would you wish that upon me? So I'd be just as fucked up as you, being a 45-year-old chubby dude talking shit to someone online that doesn't even know you exist. Like, they mean nothing to me. They're not making my kids think any less of me. They're not taking any money out of my pocket. They're not making my wife respect me any. Like, I could give two fucks. Like, I have a very strong not give a fuck muscle. And I think these days you need it. You need to have thick skin.
I love what you said there about, you know, that such a small percentage of your life, you know, because like I was in for 8 years, but I've been out for longer than that now. And when people are like, oh, they like think that that's what defines somebody as a person. I'm like, dude, I've done 6 more things since I was in the Marine Corps. I was a fucking college professor. I was fucking I built a border wall, like all these things that I did. Like I did all kinds of shit in the last 10, 12 years. And I'm like, that was such a small portion of my life. And I was in my early 20s. I didn't know who the fuck I was at all. You know, I learned everything between 26 and 36. Like those are the years that I learned everything. Like that was just like, you know, I don't know. I was mama's tit, high school, 6 days after graduation. Now I'm in boot camp. Like, you know, and now I gotta, I don't know, what would become a man? Like, you're not a man. Like, you know what I mean?
Such
it's
a
like,
good point.
there's no point. It's so stupid. I'm so glad you said that about like such a small portion of your life was that. And so many people use those small portions of their life to define themselves, and they use it as a crutch. They use like trauma and they use this stuff as like a crutch to like, oh, I can't do that because, or I can never build that, or I can never. And it's just shining a big fucking light on their insecurities. And especially in the veteran community, unfortunately, that's the way
Al
it
Bundy
is.
scoring 4 touchdowns in Polk High School.
I used to bench
Uncle Rico.
315 in high school.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, same for me. Like I was in for 4 years, but then I was in aerospace for 10 years. That's where a lot of what I teach about leadership comes from, is working in aerospace I worked with like multiple contractors like Lockheed, Boeing, Northrop, Raytheon, all of our active duty United States, military branches, foreign military, union guys, salary guys, like all sorts of different people. Most of what I teach now comes from that and my 8 years in business. Like I don't even really remember from 18 to 22 in the Navy. I mean, like I was still a kid,
And fucking probably drunk half the time. You don't even know what the fuck was going on.
Yeah, I mean, floating around the world, living in some shitty apartments, drinking. I was like trying to figure my stuff out.
Yeah.
The most effective alcoholics in the world.
You know who brought that? I don't know if you follow him. He's a staff sergeant, I think, in the Marine Corps. Dutton. Have you ever seen him? He's a recruiter in. You should follow him if you don't follow him.
Yeah.
He's like a light-skinned black dude. He talks about a lot of military stuff, and he's a recruiter. And I've talked to him sometimes online, and he's one that kind of gave me that perspective also. He also said that he gave me the thing about them. Any man in combat would never wish that. That's where I got that from. But he also said that only like 2% of people are in the military, or whatever the percent was, are actually even in actual combat have ever pulled the trigger. They talk all this shit, and what were they doing? He's like, they were filling sandbags like behind lines, and they're talking shit to me because he's seen some of the hate that I get online, and we've talked a little bit, and also what percentage of the military is even grunts and
very tiny.
It's like 15% maybe. The rest is air wing, is whatever
support.
So. And out of those 15%, there's like 1% of them actually have pulled a trigger in their life. Shit, I pulled more triggers outside of the military. I'll even be shooting my kids. Now, we're talking, I've been out for now 20-something years, 30 years almost out. And we'll be going to the range of my kids and clearing houses and shit. And they'll say, you're a fraud. You shouldn't be doing that. You were never in combat. You were just an air winger. Like, So they're basically like it's so fucking twisted. These veterans, they're almost like fucking communists. Like they don't believe in the Second Amendment. They're basically saying if you weren't in combat, or if you're wearing a rig, or we train with our little chest plates, we go train with them when we're working out for the weight. You shouldn't wear that. You were never in combat. So since I wasn't in combat, I shouldn't be allowed to arm myself. I shouldn't teach my kids to shoot. So what about a dude who was never even in the military? What should they do? Like
that's exactly where I was going to take it. Let me go the extreme opposite, the extreme end of that. Like at our True North Men's Development Camp, we bring guys up that were in and do have combat to teach guys that have never even held a gun. Teach them how to properly.
You're just playing military. That's just a cosplay game. Those guys just are living out their fantasy because they never. No, because they're grown men that need to learn skills.
They should all know some basic things about what happens if someone is in your house. What do you need to know? What's the proper way to enter a room? And it doesn't mean that we're trying to be a freaking Delta Force guy or anything. So for those guys that are saying like, you didn't do that, you can't do that now. It's like, well, dude, everybody should be doing it.
No shit. It makes no sense. They're fucking communists. They're literally communists. They don't believe in the Second Amendment. They don't believe in leadership or fathering or teaching your family or even helping the community. If you weren't in the military, you shouldn't even own an American flag, according to them. It's fucking nuts.
Exactly. So I want to ask you about the MDK project and Operation Blacksite. You do some really cool in-person stuff, right? So how did you get involved in that? Because that's originally where I saw you, where I found you. I've been following Bedros for a long time. I love his book. Man Up was the last one I read. Just getting a lot of value from him. And through there, I became friends. I think originally met Ray Cash through there. And now we've been friends for 5 years or so. Then I saw you on there. And a lot of what people post are they're taking some of the more aggressive, extreme moments from MDK, and they put that up there, and they're doing exactly what we've been talking about here. They're talking shit.
And the first like few years that we did it, we really only showed a couple of cool little clips, nothing really behind the scenes. Then as you want to get viral clips. I would say part of the marketing mistake, I think, was they showed a little too much of behind the scenes because it is if you just see a 10-second clip of me flipping a table or smashing a fucking wall with a sledgehammer and screaming and saying all kinds of stupid shit, you'd be like, all right, that looks fucking stupid. But me, when I'm scrolling the internet, I see something stupid, you know what I do? I scroll to something else and find something that I like. I don't sit and stop, oh, you freaking shouldn't be doing that, you're a fake and this and that. But yeah, it's...
Can you tell us what it is? Like, where did MDK Project come from and like, what is it?
Sure. So it's a 3-day in-person, 3.5 day in-person men's personal development program. Really, it's a physical breakdown to have breakthroughs mentally, emotionally, socially, spiritually, financially. And it's an extreme, high intense, crazy, like the workouts that we did together is like not even the warm up to the warm up to the warm up of what we'd be doing with them. Yeah. But it's also a lot of teaching, a lot of behind the scenes where we're having discussions of men, hard, tough discussions that men don't have. There's points where we're taking the entire media team and they're not even in the room, and we're having discussions that men are afraid to have too often. Men don't talk. We don't fucking communicate. We're knuckleheads. We're knuckle draggers, and we don't have those meaningful conversations. So that goes on there. We're having breakthroughs, and there's brotherhood. Like my first tattoo is of the project on top of my hand. I got it at 41 years old. The first tattoo I've ever gotten right on top of my hand after just one class. Like that's the impact that it had when I saw, holy fuck, like just for those first 12 guys that came through in one class, when I got my first, I never had a tattoo before that on top of my hand with blood dripping off it because it had such an impact, not just on the men there, but myself as an instructor. I learned a shitload about myself, made me better. And there's guys from that class, there was 5 years ago that I'm in contact with on a regular basis all the time. Like I just was in Illinois with another guy, just graduated a recent class, and he now is started a father-son program. We also run a thing called the Squire program, but it's a father-son program. He's a licensee for that. He ran an event. Awesome. I went out there to go and help him run his first event. And there were at least 15 other graduates from classes for over the last few years, some he don't even know, that came out to support and help him. Some of them that went to go sit in for young men that needed mentors that didn't have father figures. So some of the graduates from our previous classes came in, flew in on their own dime, volunteered their time, took off work to go mentor for them. So it's really a creation of a brotherhood. Men don't have other men around them they can call, have tough conversations, but also that they can maybe get some shit off their chest on. We as men, we go to work all day, or the way most men do. They walk in the door, they're all worn out, they're overwhelmed, they're fucking stressed, and they go dump all that shit on their wife and their kids. They bring this nasty fucking toxic energy into the house, and they wonder why their wife's running away from them and doesn't want to meet them in the bedroom in the nighttime, and why their kids are instead of footsteps running towards them, like I try to make my kids, their footsteps are running away. When we heard my father's car coming from a mile down the road, there were fucking footsteps running away from the door, like going to hide, go run out in the woods, pretend you're sleeping, whatever it was. That men don't have this type of brotherhood anymore, or someone they can go and talk to and sometimes bitch and complain. Like if I wanted to bitch and complain, I think I can come and bitch and complain to you two, but I have a good feeling if I bitch and complain to you about something, and 2 weeks later I bitch and complain to you about something else, you're going to say to me, well, what the fuck? What the fuck? You're bitching about the same thing. Now you're just being a little bitch. What are you doing about it? Like, but we need somewhere to vent, to go have other men. So I have a saying, do it here, meaning with other men. So you don't do it there, meaning with your wife, with your kids. There's certain times you need to be vulnerable there and have different tough conversations. But most of the shit that we bring into the house, leave that shit somewhere else, dump it somewhere else, fucking do something about it. Get some dudes that are going to hold you accountable and not let you just bitch about it and just be a whiny little bitch and do nothing. Like, we need men to have those tough. We need a brotherhood. That's what a brotherhood is. That's really what it comes down to of what the project is a brotherhood. And it came about by, I moved out to California actually just for the first class of the projects. It was coming up and I just wanted to live in California for that first class. So we took all of our shit in New York, put it all in storage, put our house on the market. It sold in like a couple of weeks. We had nowhere to live. We jumped into my Ford F-150, my whole family, as much guns and toilet paper as we could in the car, and drove across the country with nowhere to live in California. We didn't find a place to even rent until we got to Utah, but it was just a few weeks before the first class of the project, because myself and the other instructors, we started getting to know each other and knew we wanted to work together. We just feel a connection and a click, and realize we are all extremely equally fucked up, but we did something about it. We figured out some strategies, some tactics, how to connect with other men, how to do something about it, and realize that suffering, pain, hardship, fucking ripped up hands and knuckles from burning is the path to that purpose, is the path to breaking through. Like, suffering will lead to the superpowers. Like, adversity leads to the advantage. So that's really where it came about. We sat and realized we were all just a bunch of fuck ups that somehow have sort of figured it out, that kind of still have great relationships with our wives and our kids, and we're leading our families somehow, even though with all the shit that we've been through, and some of the instructors were molested as children, and how did they make it and other people didn't? All right, let me show you how. This is how we did it. So that's really, really how it came about.
Let's explain that a little bit more, because we say this all the time, that if you want to get your mind right, if you want to fix something in your head, whether it's your confidence, self-belief, or whatever, you use the body to beat the mind into submission, and you use the body through workouts, cold water, scars on your hands, stuff like that. And I think I'm imagining why you do such hardcore stuff at MDK, because you need to force that mind to go to another level, to overcome some stuff, right? So
most people aren't going to do it on their own. Most men are. It's fucking hard. And when they come there, they know what they're signing up for. They are paying a lot of money to be there, but you're ripping them off. You're scamming them. These are successful men, know what they're doing, know they're fucked up, are asking for help, and know what they're getting. They know they're going to get freaking yelled at, and they're going to do crazy, hard shit. Let me ask you this question. When we were crawling yesterday on that concrete, I'm sure, like all men, you have your stresses. You think about money. You have all the bullshit going on when you were crawling and your hands were burning on that concrete yesterday, were you thinking about any of that stress? You couldn't. You're thinking about, don't die, don't die, keep crawling, don't stay for too long. You better move fast. Your skin's gonna burn off your hands. That's it. It's a freedom. Doing hard shit like that is so fucking freeing. And then when you're done, you're like, you know what? The other shit ain't that bad. I'm capable of doing that shit. You show yourself what the fuck you're made of, what you're capable of, what your true potential is. Show yourself that you have what it takes, and you start getting older. Shit, I'm 46 years old. I'm going to show myself every day. Do I still have what it takes, no matter what?
Yeah, I'll just tell them real quick. I was telling Andy and Ronnie beforehand, I'm like, I'm feeling pretty beat up right now. Like, not just from your workout, but just from everything. I've got this bicep tendon thing going on, like compressed disc in my back. I still have some scars from being shot at a couple times recently with UTMs and airsoft. I feel kind of beat up, but I fucking love it.
Sounds like freedom, motherfucker. That sounds like hell yeah. I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah, because I don't want to just like work out and then look in the mirror and be like, yeah, cool, I look good.
If I wake up feeling good and fresh, and there's something wrong, I'm not living life.
Yeah, like when I'm in the shower yesterday and I'm like, oh my God, what is all this shit? I'm just like, awesome. Like, I love this, because I want to train. We always train, but there's a missing thing that for a lot of guys is testing yourselves. you know, and getting into these extreme environments, even for a couple minutes, cold water for 4 minutes, most guys can't fucking handle it.
Yep.
You know, like, or just going in, like we do this active shooter training with SWAT teams sometimes and play bad guys. Just going in there and just seeing how you react being an aggressor towards a professional SWAT team. That's a whole fucking different level,
awesome.
you know, like, but I love it because you leave there just like, dude, I got so much more. There's a whole another level I know I can go to. And I feel like I just kind of cracked to it a bit. But the only way to do that is to get some fucking lumps
Throw
and bruises
yourself
and
into the
scars.
fire.
You
Right?
have
Like
to.
you two showed up yesterday, not knowing anything we're going to do for the workout. So like, and ready and willing to do it, no matter what kind of workout, whether it's cardio or strength, doesn't matter. Like, fuck yeah, that's like the challenge you're looking for. Like I tore my bicep too, completely detached. And when it happened, I was deciding to get surgery or not getting surgery. I said, fuck it, I'm just going to deal without surgery. But it's still a challenge. My son, when it happened, he was down about it. Not that I'm going to be like not the best work, and I apologize for him. I'm sorry if I'm going to be a shitty workout partner in the next few weeks, but I'm just going to work through it. But I'm going to be fine, whatever. He's like, no, I'm like, because I thought that's why he was down when I ripped it. He's like, no, he's like, we're sucking sick and twisted. He was jealous that it happened to me. He's like, what's my challenge going to be now? It's too easy for me now. I have nothing to work around. He's like, what do I have to do? I'm like, fuck it, let's just rip your arm. We'll fucking do something for it. He was pissed that I tore a muscle.
Go get a hammer.
And we're going to have to figure out how to stay lean and ripped and in shape and work hard and burn calories. And we have challenges on how many calories we burn every day and all this other stuff in our workouts. How is he going to now have something, a bigger challenge? And it was jealous that I ripped a fucking tendon off the bone. It's crazy. But that's right there. That's what it's all about right there. Like,
really
I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah.
We've been talking about this. It was, like I said, I told you yesterday, it took me, 36 years to realize some things. I grew up without a father and without any positive male role models and stuff. But something that we did at our retreat recently, and we did it impromptu. We didn't plan it. It wasn't something that we had scheduled in, but we were down by the creek in the dirt and we just started wrestling each other, just slamming each other in the dirt and stuff. And some of the guys were kind of sitting back going like, well, I'm not doing that. I don't want to get hurt or whatever. And we were just messing around and stuff. And I got my face slammed into the dirt and it was awesome. I was like, fuck, I haven't had my eye fucked up in a while, and I was like, just, and one of the guys that was there with us has never touched a weapon before, never done anything like that, never wrestled around before, never had that before. And we got him out there to do it. And out of all the stuff that we did in the entire retreat that we did for these guys, and it was a lot, that was the thing that stuck with the most was he was like, I'm so glad I got down there and got slammed around the ground. And like, that was the biggest, like nuclear bomb in his head. And now he's doing a jujitsu. He lives in Tampa. He's doing jujitsu now and all this stuff. And it's like, that's what it takes. It takes getting into that fire, getting your fucking face slammed into the dirt sometimes. And that's what it takes. And it's so easy, but it's not, you know what I mean? It's so easy to like say, to anybody that you're coaching, like just go and do hard shit. But like some guys need to come to something like that. Like they need to get in the fucking
mud and wrestle.
Yeah,
they
have to do it
with the father and sons just in Illinois last week.
I saw it. Yeah, it was
and
awesome.
They were done. They're like, that was the highlight of the fucking day. Like we gave their sons the freedom, go whoop your dad's ass, take them down, bury them in the freaking mud. And then we say, all right, now the tables are turned. Dads, it's not child abuse if it happens at the Squire program. Do what you got to do. And that was the most fun they had in a while. And I asked them afterwards, which was fucking also heartbreaking. How many of you, that's the first time you've ever done something like that with your dad? I asked the sons. Or how often you do it. And it was like 80% was like, we never do that. Never. Don't do it enough. Like I asked them a couple of tough questions when I get the sons alone. I asked them how well they think they know their fathers. And 20% of them feel like they know their fathers. How many of you don't spend enough time with your fathers? And 90% of them don't spend it. And these are the top 1% of fathers that are actually taking time off work, traveling across the country to imagine what the rest of the world's like. It's fucking nuts. Yeah, they need to get out of the mud. Have some, you know what it is? Most hard shit, challenging shit, like that's hard. Yeah, you're going to get slammed. You might twist a knee or whatever, but it's fucking fun. Men forgot how to have fun. Like they just get too caught up in the day-to-day bullshit and paying the bills and the stress, and they think being a provider is enough. And what they do is then they say, you ask them, why are you working so hard? Why are you doing this and that? And to provide for my family. But in the meantime, they're fucking neglecting the thing they claim they're working so hard for. They're neglecting the thing. So by the time they make the money to be the provider, their family fucking hates them and doesn't even know them, doesn't even want to spend time with them. The footsteps are running away from them. They need to get in the fucking mud. Just have some fucking fun. Men forgot how to have fun. We forgot why. What's the purpose of this fucking life even? Yeah, you need to make a shitload of money hell yeah, you want to create memorable experiences for your kids. But a lot of those kids, a bigger memorable experience is not going to be the thing they spend a bunch of money on. It's when they fucking slammed them in the mud and they were wrestling and having fun. Like in our house, it's free game in our house. Like you better always have your guard on or you might just get fucking taken out in 2 seconds. So you're on guard, both of them. These little demon children, they will attack you like, if you're going to get the mail, it's like a war to get the mail. One time, we haven't done as much lately in our new house, but once we saw the mail was there, it's like who can get the mail. Like men don't have fun anymore. They don't have a competition. They don't push and pressure each other. They don't challenge each other. We'd go out to get the mail and we're brawling on the fucking sidewalk for who's going to get the mail. And I'm running and my daughter will crawl from under a fucking car and trip me and I'm bashing on the concrete just to get the mail. But it's fucking fun. Men forgot how to have fun. Like that's the shit you're going to remember more than even like some exotic vacation or some shit that they're going to forget what even happened there. Like create 100%. Memorable experiences, have some freaking fun. That's what men are missing out. They're not having fucking fun.
And I'm sure you can back this up, Steve, because back to that wrestling thing, there was a really cool lesson that came out of it that was totally random and impromptu. So we're down there, a couple guys are wrestling, and there's some skeptical guys that are like, man, I don't know if I could do this. And one of them said something like, well, I don't have that anger in me. And we're like, hold on. There's no anger here, like at all. No one's angry with anybody here. Yep. We're being aggressive because we're using our bodies and we're putting our minds into what we're doing here and trying to defeat this other guy. But like, there's no anger whatsoever. And most guys don't even understand what it's like to face off with another guy because they think that it's anger or they think it's red or I have to try to kill the guy or it's like, no, there's none of that, right? So, I mean, back me up, if you will, on that because I think you're going to agree. Like, you can get into jujitsu and wrestling and challenging to get to the male and all this kind of stuff, but it's not anger. It's from competition. It's from testing ourselves, seeing if our training pays off in real world scenarios.
Yeah, and sometimes what's wrong with anger? Like anger and aggression, it's frowned upon. Like the American Psychological Association, I don't know if you saw, they did a study on masculinity and malehood. The stoicism and the competitiveness and aggressiveness of men, they deemed is all just toxic. And they say it's the cause of all the problems in our country.
Right.
The lack of those things is the fucking cause of the problems in this country. And so, it's testing yourself, challenging yourself. Men, there's nothing personal. Also, their egos are a little involved. Like, what if I lose? What if I get slammed? What if I can't? Who gives a shit? Whatever. Like you see where you stand, you see what you have, you know where you need to get better. But also, what's wrong with having a little, testosterone is freaking anger. That is anger. It's rage. Like we need to have that. We need to have that violence, and just having the fun of wrestling is a little violence. We need to have it. Like we have crazy time in our house where we're just fighting and wrestling, and we're sometimes we'll be fighting and we'll leave with all kinds of bruises and I'll hit we're playing and fighting, but I'll punch my son sometimes when we're like boxing. I'm like, my hand hurts from hitting him. He's fucking smiling. Like either I'm a little bitch or like, this is what men need. This is like what boys crave. Yeah. They crave it. Even my daughter, she's a freaking psychopath. Like they need that craziness.
Yeah. Well, I'll expand a little more.
She's laughing over there for everybody.
Little psycho.
There's definitely anger. Like in the moment, you could use that for fuel for sure. The guy was worried that it was like going to turn into a fight afterwards. And it was like, no, like that's not happening here. Yeah. In the moment, burn, get that anger, get pissed, get moving and do what you can do to get this guy down. But when in the end, like if you go down or he goes down, no one's throwing punches. Like we're testing ourselves.
You're fucking handshaking and talking about it and laughing about it after.
And then once he heard that, he's like, oh. And he was one of the guys that went next and afterwards is like just completely like let free. He's like,
such an awesome lesson. Like lessons like that just come up on the fly like that. That's the real work right there. That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, it was a blast. And like, that was, like he said, one of Robert's favorite things is because he's a bigger dude too. He's super strong, but he had no idea what he was capable of. He's been training, he's squatting, he's doing all these things and he's getting in better shape, but he's still just kind of like unsure of how to use his body. So he got down there with him and he's like, put your hand on my neck, put your hand here, push, drive with your legs. And as he started to get it, he's like, oh shit. He's like, all right, Robert, you're pretty strong, dude. And it really just let Robert just be like, oh, okay, I see that there's more here.
Yeah. He came down, he said, I don't have that aggression. I said, we'll find it. Yeah, we'll find it. Like you get yanked around a little bit and you'll find some aggression down there. It'll come. Don't worry. But it's about controlling it. Right. And that was the whole, kind of what it morphed into is like, was like, no, there needs to be that aggression. There needs to be that stuff, but you have to control it too.
All your emotions. That's probably a man who
100%.
couldn't control any of his emotions. He
Yep.
thinks like, if it happens, that means I'm pissed. If
Yep.
you're choking me, we're enemies.
Yeah, this thing is going to define me in this moment.
And the same thing's probably happening with his wife and his kids. It's probably popping up all around in his life, not regulating himself, not controlling himself, no emotional discipline.
Yeah. So that's MDK. That's awesome. You guys, what's next for that thing?
In October, we have a class in October coming up. That's going to be the last one for that because it is kind of spawned into the father-son program that we do, which is
Squire.
so much. Yeah, the Squire.
Yeah.
It's just so much. It's so fulfilling to get our hands on the younger generation ahead of time and seeing all we are doing is facilitating. The haters will even come on that. They're like, those men that sign up for those things are such little bitches. They're such beta men, and they sell those stupid internet words because they need another man to show them how to be a father to their kid. Like, we're facilitating it. They're bonding. They maybe weren't being a good father and a good man. So sometimes we do need help. I need help all the fucking time with all kinds of shit and not afraid to ask for it. And most men are afraid to get into that. But yeah, the father-son program is freaking awesome. And then also the guy that's running it in Illinois just started it. And they say those men that first go through the project are just little bitches and this and that. Or this dude is he's a very successful, owns a construction company, but he's a jiu-jitsu black belt, has had professional Muay Thai fights, professional MMA fights. He'll whoop my ass. Like I need to bring a baseball bat to that fight. And he came into the program that I'm going to push him and push his buttons to see what he's going to do. And if you're going to whoop my ass, then you're going to whoop my ass. But we're going to let you start learning to control your emotions. But the caliber of men that are coming through and starting these programs are now starting to open up the Squire programs. We have another one coming up in Florida in October. They're also in North Carolina, Texas.
Awesome.
So I'm traveling with my son to all the different events around the country. And we bring our family along, but he actually helps me pretty much run the events. And it's fulfilling, it's rewarding, and it's also just seeing the fathers and sons connecting with their kids.
Yeah,
is
I can imagine.
awesome.
I can imagine that would be the natural progression of something like MDK, where it's like the guys are probably thinking, "Man, my fucking son needs this," or I'm sure that's like that was. It's just the natural progression of the thing, and it's like, no, why don't we just do it like that? That makes perfect sense to me because like. Doing it like that, you're going to have more impact, number one, and you're going to create a larger group of, capable men. And you're going to I love that, dude. That's awesome.
I'm a huge fan of it as well.
Yeah.
And I think your kids, like yesterday, I want to ask you about how you homeschool them because they're completely taken out of the California school system, right? I was super impressed. We showed up, better eye contact and handshakes than most adults that we meet.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like right there listening the whole time. No one was like off just playing a freaking game on the phone or something. They did the whole workout with us. Same thing today. Showed up, direct eye contact, shaking hands, like very well, spoken, respectful. And they're in the room right now. And they're not, complaining that it's boring sitting here listening. And and I think it just goes to show that like you and your wife, Eva, are leading by example. Is it Eva or Ava?
Eva.
Yeah. So my hat is off to you guys just to show that like, hey, homeschooling can work. And we were even talking yesterday about, I asked you like, do you follow some sort of curriculum or guide or anything like that? And you're like, well, yeah, it's this, it's what
life.
we're doing.
We're just teaching them how to live life. Like what more could you learn? The shit you're learning in school. Like what is the fact of the size of a fucking T-Rex's claw, how many inches that they're going to learn in school and useless facts they're going to learn in school help them later in life when they could be sitting here. They're going to learn more in this conversation, just sitting here watching the three of us talk. Then they're going to learn in a month or a year of freaking school and the bullshit facts that they're going to learn that they're never going to use in life ever. The only thing I ever use the most that I learned in school, I try to think of as maybe a little bit of basic Spanish. And that was just to freaking sell drugs to them when I was on the street, when I learned some Spanish. And maybe a little bit of like typing on a computer and shit like that. Yeah. That's about it. Like what else did I use? The mathematics, you learn what you need in math by the third grade of what you're going to use the rest of your life. Totally. Of course, if you're going to a certain field, then you have to go through college, like doctors, lawyers, shit. Of course, you need to do that. But we're just teaching them how to live. We're teaching them, like even in my men's groups that I have, I say, I teach men and I show men how to build a life you don't need a vacation from and how to create a legacy that you don't have to wait a lifetime to live. And that's all we're doing with our homeschooling is teaching them that and showing them the life. And they're learning about, like they read the same books I read. They read all Jocko's books. They read emotional intelligence books, all the book that you gave us yesterday. We've read it, listened to it. We were listening to it on the way here in the RV. The Way of Men and the whole series of those books. Like they're reading the same stuff that I'm reading. They're learning about it. That's what they're reading. Not of Mice and Men or whatever the fuck I was supposed to read in high school. I never read about George and the fucking rabbits. Like, how is George killing some fucking rabbits going to help me in life? Like, Way of Men is going to help my son a lot more than George and the fucking rabbits.
Forgot about that.
And then the other thing is,
that's all I remember about the book.
Yeah,
is I want to pet the rabbits.
George is a retard.
That's all I remember about the book. So obviously, it wasn't that fucking useful in everyday life.
And the other thing is like everyone now has a supercomputer in their hands. So it's like, even if you don't know how to do that kind of equation, or you need to know something about history, like you can literally have it in 2 seconds. You know, like we don't need to memorize all the stuff that we did before. Now it's just like, if you can learn all the stuff you're teaching them with real world experience, the books and the thinking that you believe in that has crafted you into who you are, they can figure out anything else with this phone in 2 seconds. So yeah, what is the point of going to school for how many freaking years? 12, 15 years or whatever it is, to memorize these things and then be graded on how well you memorize things? Like, no, I want them to learn how to think. I want them to learn how to interact, how to, even something as simple as I've already said twice, look someone in the eye and shake their hand. That goes a long way because most people can't do that anymore. They're so stuck in the damn phone for games, and they go to school and that's how they're learning, that they forget how to operate in real life. So I think what you're doing is amazing. And my daughter just started kindergarten literally 2 days ago, and we're 2 days in, and I'm like, man, she's at a nice private school and everything, but I'm like, I don't know. I kind of want to pull her out already. And I literally told her last night.
2 days, the shortest, shortest kindergarten in history.
Yeah. So I literally told her last night. I mean, she's 5, about to turn 6, but I don't know how much of this she comprehends. But I'm kind of like, how about go to school for a year, do kindergarten, maybe first grade, something like that. And then we'll see, if you want to stay home with mommy, daddy after that. And of course, she loves that idea. She doesn't really know what it means, but I was just kind of talking to myself through this. I'm like, man, I don't know. What are you actually learning in kindergarten that I couldn't teach you right now? I feel like I could teach her everything, because even though I'm not very good at math, like I'm first to admit that, I don't fucking need to know great math. Like even AD, who's an aerospace engineer, like he's not allowed, if you're an aerospace engineer, to sit here and do long form formulas on math and decide how that rocket is going to fly. You have to run it through programs. Like, sure, you need to know some stuff if you're going to go into those disciplines like engineering or being a doctor or something. But dude, especially if you're going to be in like business, dude, this is school. Right here in this room right now is school. I don't need you to go learn from Miss Pepitone, what she thinks about school when she's a kindergarten teacher. Like, God bless her. Like, that's great. She's helping kids. But like, man, I don't know how much longer my kid's going to be in school. It's only been 2 days. I've been thinking about it for a while.
Yeah. It's so much wasted information. Like I guarantee my kids can show you how to build a sales funnel, and that a funnel goes to an order bump and then an upsell page and what should be said in it, how to do the video, how to edit it. Like they help me out with all the businesses they actually help me out with. They have a spot in my office. I have a home office, so I work from home. We homeschool them. So also, what could be better than that? You send your kids out to some teacher who usually they're freaking overweight. They don't think the same the way you do. Right. They don't understand that. They can't teach them business. They're not making a ton of money. They don't really know how to deal with those type of things that they have different ideologies than you do, different views and perspectives. And you're shipping them out to go spend 8 hours a day with them, 5 days a week for fucking decades. Like who better? When I first started homeschooling them, because they were in public school for a few years and we pulled them out. I had an aunt who asked me, well, what are you going to do? How are you going to have time to homeschool them? Don't you have coaching clients and all these events you do and these podcasts you do? How are you going to have time to do it? I'm like, you know what? If I'll cut a couple of clients if I have to. What better client than my own kids? Who would I want to spend more time and teach? So I'm going to neglect my kids, have some overweight fucking Nazi at school, teach them what to think and what bathroom to fucking use while I'm making money with a client. So I'll go teach 100%. A client and neglect my kids. Like, who better to spend your time with? Like we spend more time with our kids than really anyone I know. And I wouldn't have it any other way. And if that means losing some money, of course, I never want to pass up. You want to make as much money as possible. But if that's the what it's going to take, I'll fucking pass up on opportunities if it means it's going to change my lifestyle. Like I said, a lifestyle you don't need a vacation from, but also a lifestyle that people think you're lying about. That's our goal, is to create a lifestyle people think you're lying about. We do so much cool shit. My kids would go back to school on a Monday and they'd go around, little Billy, what'd you do this weekend? Oh, I played Nintendo. And little Susie, what'd you do? I played with my Barbies. they'll say, "Oh, Midge, that's my daughter. What did you do?" Well, we drove across the country, worked out in 14 different states. We did a 24-hour push-up challenge where I did 999 push-ups. We did a 21-mile hike to the highest peak in Southern. Oh, sure you did. And they'll just skip. They just think it's all bullshit. But it's an average fucking Tuesday.
Right. Dude,
I really lifestyle people think you're lying about. I really like that.
And I really like kids as your clients. I mean, why not? I mean, that's the ultimate client is your kid. This is how we started the conversation.
You starting off, you are your most important client, but who after that? Your spouse, your kids, those are my most important clients over anyone else. If I know that I'm dealing with shit the way I should there, the money's going to come. I'm going to lead the other people much better because I'm leading myself first well enough, leading so that I can lead my family, my wife, my kids. After that, there'll be ups and downs in business, but I know it's all going to always be working out because I have that right there as my foundation. Men have it twisted half the time, and they don't even like being home. Like, we love being home. We sometimes, that's a life you don't need a vacation from. We're at home. We feel like we're on vacation. We built that lifestyle we want with all our animals and pets and turtles and snakes and all kinds of shit we have. Like, that's our lifestyle we want to live. We love being home. A lot of men hate going home. Me and my wife, we have a date night every Thursday night, and we go out. First, most men probably don't have date nights. I have time on the schedule with just my son alone, time on the schedule each week with just my daughter alone, time with just me and both kids, and then, of course, the whole family together. So we have actual meetings and time on the calendar scheduled, separate, and my wife has the same thing. People do that in their business and then go home and neglect their family. Then they don't even want to go home. So when me and my wife are out on a date night, we're at this bar, and you see, it's a restaurant, but the bar is at the restaurant. We're sitting, eating, whatever. And you see all these dudes sitting at the fucking bar in their suits, all of them out of shape, overweight. It's like 7 p.m., 7:30 p.m. They probably left for work at 5, 6 in the morning, 7 in the morning. They worked all fucking day. Then they go to the bar because they're avoiding going home. Like, your home should be the place you fucking can't wait to get to. Like, that is your vacation, your home. What better in life than to wanting to get home to go see your wife and see your kids? And that's why you're doing all the shit you're doing, just for that. These motherfuckers avoid going home and sit at the bar, eat their fucking chicken wings, and getting wasted to avoid going home. By the time they get home, their kids are like ready to go to sleep. They'll see them for a couple of minutes, and that's their day. Like, it's fucking nuts. Like, they need to flip that whole perspective. Like, your home should be your kingdom, your safe place, the place you can't wait to get home to. When you go home, it's like your magical fucking place where you feel comfortable and safe and supported and surrounded by just awesomeness and fucking love and people that you can't wait to go and see. Most men avoid that shit. It's fucking nuts.
I realized a couple of weeks ago, just randomly, that I drive faster going home than I do other places. And
cool.
I drive fast.
That's such a cool statistic. I love that. I'm going to steal that.
So as you said that, I was like, oh, that just ties it all together. Because it's like, that is where I want to be. And I have more aggressiveness, I guess, when it comes to driving to get to that destination.
Sport plus.
But I drive fast everywhere I go. But that's like, I actually drive faster to go home. That's
such a cool point.
Yeah. All right. So what is Operation Blacksite? We've talked about it offline a little bit. I've seen it online. It looks super freaking cool. And I feel like it's all tying all this kind of stuff in, because we talked about being good at being a man, but and a woman. Like, we got to have great skills. We have to know what we're capable of, and we have to know that we can deploy to protect and serve our families and all that. So what is Operation Blacksite? How does that all fit into this?
Yeah, so it's run by the head instructors are UFC fighters and special forces, Navy SEALs, Green Berets, and they're teaching room clearing. You hear something in your house, go and clear the room. Like, my kids all participate in that. They help out with it. They also participate and learn it. My son knows how to clear a house better than I can. He's freaking 13.
Well, let's unpack that real quick, because some people, like we talked about earlier, they think it's silly or something that we as men would know how to clear a house, but no, we need our wives and our kids and everyone to clear a house. So why does your 13-year-old son need to know how to clear the house?
It's fucking crazy. And they see, and then even the haters go on there.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that kid is just training for his first day back at school. Oh, this looks like the layout to his school that he's practicing for. It's fucking nuts, the comments you get. Like, think that's how fucking twisted these people are. But why would they not? Well, first of all, he's the future. I'm a leader, creating future leaders and protectors. Like, I'm not always there. Shit. There's a bump in the house. I might be standing by him asking him what to do because he has more training in it than me. But that's our job to work ourselves out of a job. What greater, we're talking about it as them being your clients. What greater career is there, or more important, or more impactful, or more fun, or more fulfilling career than being a father, being a leader, being an uncle? nothing more. So of course they need to learn those skills. And besides, let's say it wasn't even skills. You weren't even doing it. Like, yeah, you're training because someone could come at your house. It's fucking crazy. It could happen at any time. You should be prepared. But also, how about this? Like I said before, it's also fucking fun. What little boy doesn't want to go play Cowboys and Indians? If you can even say Indians anymore, I don't know. Maybe you have to say Cowboys and I don't know what to call them anymore. But
You could say Indians.
Yeah.
It's fine.
What boy doesn't want to be doing shit like that? People hate on that. I'm like, I wish someone let me do shit like that as a kid. I get to go around and play toy guns and go rescue the hostage and be the hero and it's fucking fun and it's useful skills, serious skills that every man should learn. But that's part of what Operation Blacksite is. Then there's also like trauma, learning how to deal with wounds and not even just gunshot wounds. Like, why would he need to train for a gunshot wound? How to pack the wounds and all. It could be from anything. It could be from a car accident. How to deal with doing all that trauma training we do. How to escape from zip ties and escape tactics. There's like Sears instructors that are in there teaching that. Like, being around individuals like that. Like, I'm in there. I help out as an instructor on the fighting side. Tony Blauer, who does self-defense, and Michael Chandler, the UFC fighter, teach the fighting stuff, and I assist with them. I'm fucking soaking it in myself, and I'm one of the instructors. It's like just being in that environment. But that's what Operation Blacksite. I run the workouts in the morning, so we do physical training in the morning. I run all the PT in the morning for all the days of the event, and it's just an awesome experience. And it's for men and women that men and women should learn. They should have situational awareness. They should know what to look out for around. Like, I was going to a gas station. Actually, I was going to the Squire program about a year ago. And it was like 3 a.m. We start at like 4 a.m. So I'm leaving from my house. It takes about an hour to get there. And I'm at a gas station in the middle of nowhere, kind of in between my house and Temecula where it is. So it's a little shithole gas station, but I just need to fill up. And lesson learned, fucking keep your shit full. And I let it go too low. It's one of my biggest fucking lacks of discipline I need to work on. But I'm pumping the gas and it's 3 a.m. No cars on the street. This car comes up to a red light and it stops. And it's all blacked out, tinted out windows, whatever. And the light turns green and the car just stays there. So good thing I'm paying attention. I'm like, that's odd. That's not normal. They make an illegal U-turn in the intersection and start slowly coming into the parking lot that I'm in. Now, could it just be people running out of gas, looking for a gas station? They found it. Sure. But, and I'm armed. I carry everywhere I go. And so I don't have to worry about, I have a gun on me. Who cares what they're doing? Fuck that. I saw this going on because I have the situational awareness. Fuck that. I didn't even finish pumping the gas. Said, I'm not going to find out if I need, just have a gun. I'm not going to find out if I need to use it. I don't need to be Billy Badass and prove to myself this. Right. Why do I need to even deal with that? I'm just going to get the fuck out of here. Like, I'm not too big of a man, or I'm not no pride. Like, I'm not going to be a little bitch for running. I'm going to get the hell out of there and not find out what their intentions were. I'm pretty sure my gut feeling tells me they had bad intentions, but I'm getting the hell out of there and not going to find out. So Operation Blacksite is basically that in a nutshell, making you have that type of awareness to not get in those situations in the first place. If you do, okay, then now what? How do you defend yourself with your hands? How do you defend yourself with weapons? If now to the next level, you're caught, you're a prisoner, you're caught, captured, a hostage situation. How do you escape from that? What to look out for? All this stuff goes on it. Then you're injured. How to deal with that? Your family members are injured. So that's all the stuff we work on in Operation Blacksite. It's fucking awesome. And on top of that, other than being life skills that all men and women should know, again, it's fucking fun. Who wouldn't want to do shit like that? Like, it's fun as hell. Funniest thing, some guy from the UK was commenting on my son's thing. Oh, this is, you could tell this is America. You guys are going downhill. And like literally the next day, if you saw in the streets, all those like, the shit that's going on there, just getting run over by these terrorists. Like, I went back into that thread and I found it.
How do you feel now?
How's it working out, guy? You wish you had someone like my son coming there to clear your fucking house, don't you? When you got all these fucking terrorists running the streets.
Dude, I love what you said there. A lot of people look at the highlight reels and they look at the guns and they look at all this stuff and they're like, why'd you need to know that? Well, one of the byproducts of being tested like that and training under pressure is knowing when to do that, but more importantly, when to escape, when to evade, when not to engage. And so if you never test that, what a lot of guys, I mean, especially a lot of people that buy guns, and especially during COVID, they bought guns and it sat on the shelf forever. They think that, if something happens, I'm going to take that out and use it. But no, you don't have enough training to realize, most situations, you just need to do everything you can to get away. And that's one of the byproducts of training like that is like, when to use, but more importantly, sometimes when not to use it. And if you're just planning on worst case scenario and nothing bad ever happens, but if need be, I'll pull out and empty the clip, dude, that's not a good
And don't fuck with my family. Anyone ever tries to fuck with my family, that's it for them. No, if anything had someone tries to fuck with your family, they'll probably just bitch slap you and you won't know what to do because you're not training and you're not prepared for it. So you need to be prepared. Right. God forbid hopefully you never have to use any of that stuff. So worst case scenario is you had fun learning it and connected with your family. Like we go shooting all the time. We go do shit like this all the time. Obstacle courses, training. Even if you never have to use any of that stuff, we connected, we bonded, we had fun. You're networking, meeting other people. It's just an awesome experience you're going to remember the rest of your life if you hopefully never have to use it.
Totally. You said something, I've heard you say it a couple times, something along the lines of becoming your own trainer, your own coach, like your own leader. And I love that. Like I see this playing out for you in like real world. Like you're actually doing what you say you do. And you're passing these things on to your kids, passing on to your clients, passing on to people that come to your courses. But unpack that a little bit for us, like becoming your own leader, your own coach, your own trainer. Like it's great, I think, to go to mentors, go to coaches, go to people that get you to take action. But ultimately, you need to become your own tip of the spear.
Even I think to plug in that to kind of encompass all that, father yourself. Start fathering yourself. Most of us, like you said, Adam said he didn't have a positive male role model.
Yeah.
He's now in the process. Yeah, he's going to learn from other people, but you're also going to father yourself. You learn shit. You have that little boy still trapped in that man's body now. You start fathering yourself. Be your own father when it comes down to it. And that is being your own leader, your own coach, because you are your most important client. And it's not your most important client just to be selfish. Like most men these days, it's all about the instant gratification, just being selfish, worried about just themselves. You are your most important client so that you're being selfish so that you could be selfless to then lead your other people who are your also most important clients, like your family, your kids, your people, your team, the people important to you. But yeah, how about fathering yourself, leading yourself? Of course, we have to lead ourselves before we can lead other people. We want to always enforce the standards before we set the standard and live the standard. Men just think because they're a man, they're just going to enforce it. And they're basically yelling at their kids for shit they're not even doing it themselves. And we need to set the standard first, clearly set the standard and the rules of the game about how it should be. What are our standards? And then after that, we need to fucking live it ourselves, which most men just ignore that step. And then we earn the right, like earning it all to enforce. We have to earn the right to even enforce those standards because we properly set it. We're living it every fucking second as our legacy. Every second is our legacy. And then, we need to enforce it. So when I'm bringing the Thor's hammer down on my kids, like when they need it, it's not like I'm walking in the house, like in the project videos and smashing the table for no reason. There's an intention behind it. There's a purpose behind it. They probably did something they know they did that was overly fucked up and they pushed the boundaries, see what they could do. I'm not just doing it for no reason. I've set those standards. I live them myself. So when it comes time to enforce it, no, I'm not being a dick. You're just making me be a dick. I'm just enforcing the standards that I live and that I set.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you said something about you take pride in like being an asshole to people that need it, or something that.
I'm the asshole that everyone needs in their life, and everyone needs it. And when people first meet me, they're like, or when they get to know me, like, you know what, Steve? When I first met you, I thought you were the biggest dick in the world. Like you're you're such a dick. I couldn't stand like your voice just irritated me. And now that I got to know you, I realized you really are a dick. But everything is everything is done with a purpose and with intention. And you know what? That's what I needed at that point in life. At that moment, I needed that asshole in my life to call me out of my bullshit and stop just telling me, oh, it's gonna be okay, and let's just go get a beer and go eat some fucking wings. No, I need someone that's going to tell me what I need to hear, not just what I want to hear, not just a bunch of fat friends that are going to say, oh, it's okay. Like when a person, I can't stand when someone goes on the internet and says, oh, I slipped on my diet. And it's like, you've seen them say that every fucking 3 weeks. Mm-hmm. Oh, I feel so bad. I'm going to they just want like and all their little fat friends will come on there and say,
it's okay.
Oh, don't worry. It's okay. Don't worry about it. You'll get back on track. Don't beat yourself up. I'll go in there and be like, no, beat yourself the fuck up because it's not the first time. You're not doing anything about it. These people that are telling you that it's okay are doing you a disservice by saying, yeah, I'm going to support you. Yeah, I want to be compassionate and empathetic, but I can't allow you just to, oh, it's okay, because then you can just do whatever you want. Mm-hmm. If that's all it takes to get over it, then you can just say, oh, it's okay. Don't worry about it. Just get back. No, don't. You should fucking worry about it because this has been a continuous trend. It's time to break the fucking cycle.
Yep.
Yeah, I think one of the things that we've been kind of dancing around here that we could sum up, I think, well, we are all trying to get, especially men, but everybody, men and women, kids, everyone, to realize is 3 words that we say all the time. And it's on you. It's on me. If people will take accountability for literally everything and just be like, dude, whatever needs to happen, it's on me to make that happen. It becomes a lot harder to be lazy, to be soft, to complain, to have someone else, that you need to say it's okay. It's like, no, if it's on you, I think this is where that saying comes from, where it's like no one's coming to save you. Like I get that, but sometimes people are like, yeah, but save me. I'm not in a dangerous situation. I like to say like, no, it's on you. Whatever the fuck you're trying to get in life, it's on you. A healthier body, a better relationship, more money, whatever it is, it's on you. Now tap into coaches and mentors and go to things like MDK, go to things like True North and get some tools, but ultimately it's on you to take action and actually earn what you want in life.
Hell yeah.
Because no one's actually going to do it. It's on you. And if you have that sense of like, shit, Steve can't show up and do this workout for me. Adam can't show up and kick this ice cream out of my hand right now. Like it's on me to do that.
Oh yeah.
That is the ultimate, I think, way for people to like truly change their life around is starts internally. It starts with them. And if they realize no one else is going to do it, they can learn from other people. That's how they can start to manifest and get the life they actually want.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. There's too many excuses being made and men not taking accountability and not being responsible for what they should be. And that goes back to full circle to where we started about those soft men. Like they point the finger and blame and complain. It's everyone else's fault and poor little me, boo-hoo, little victim. And it's on them 100%.
I love that earn the right. That's stick so well, like earn the right to enforce the standard. Right. And I say this all the time to our guys, like you can't, because our guys say all the time, some to the tune of like, oh, it's time for me to, raise my standards. And I'm like, you don't even know what your standards are yet.
Do you have a baseline?
Do you have a baseline, right? And like you haven't earned the right. I love that you said that. You haven't earned the right to enforce a standard yet because you don't even know what yours are yet. And it's like, look at where you are right now. That is your standard. Like whatever if you're fat, your fucking life is in shambles, whatever, that is your standard. Yeah. So, and you have to recognize that is where you're at right now. And most people don't want to do that. Right?
Yeah. Earn it all. 100%. It's the same thing. Earn your booze, earn it all. And like on the questionnaire you guys have for the podcast, it says, what does earn it all mean to you? And that's exactly what it is to me is you have to earn in the Marines, we say earn the right of Marine every day. You have to earn the right of being a husband every day. You have to earn the right of being a father, of being a fucking man every day. Like you're earning that right. Just because you have kids doesn't make you a father.
Right.
And you need to earn that right and be fathering your people every day. And another thing on there was what's something that some people don't know about you. We play video games almost not every day, but several times a week. I'll play video games with my kids and people are like, no way. You're so disciplined. You do this and that. How do you have time for it? We earn the right to go play video games. Yep. We train hard. We read every day. We spend time as a family. We earn the right to go and do it. That's part of our lifestyle. That's what we like to do. That's how we then just, all right, to sit back and take the load off and detach and clear your mind. And we sit there and play video games regular basis. Like, and the kids play video games, not every day, but when they earn the right to do that, it's just like earn it all, like everything we've been talking about. That's
why we say earn it all. Even though it started with earn your booze, it quickly evolved into earn your donuts, earn your tacos, earn your, like you did. I love that, video games. Whatever it is that you do to kind of check out from your normal day-to-day, from your business or whatever, to relax, to have fun, whatever you view as a reward, whatever that is.
S'mores, that's what they had yesterday. S'mores. They said earn your s'mores. Yes. They had some, I just fucking called them out, the little fatties. They had, and ever since we worked out, they're like, oh, they're eating the s'mores, this big old fat dripping out of it, the marshmallow and chocolate. They're like, oh, earn your s'mores, and they eat it because we worked out. And
that's perfect. Yeah. I mean, that's our mentality. That like
for the record, I didn't have it. You little, I did not have the s'mores.
But that's our mentality, man. Is like everything has to be earned in life. Even respect. Some people are like, oh no, everyone deserves respect. Like, do you? No, you have to earn respect too. Like you could maybe deserve like initial dignity and like people should be nice to each other. But beyond that, it's like, if you want me to respect you, you're going to fucking earn that too. You know? So I've basically over the last like 8 years been unpacking, is there anything that is not earned? Yeah. And no, everything is literally everything, you know, and it could be something as simple as having a beer, or it could be s'mores, downtime with your kids, playing video games, whatever it is. If you apply that earn it mentality and accept that it is on you to actually earn in the life that you want, that's how you're going to enjoy it.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. That's what this is all about. Earn it all. I love it.
Well, dude, it's been awesome talking with you, brother. Can't thank you enough for being here. And I just want to say again, like, thank you for being out there and being the real deal, leading by example. Like, I've been super inspired these past 2 days, like how you interact and have your kids with you everywhere. Like I said a few minutes ago, I am really, it's not even at the back of my mind, the front of my mind, like, what am I going to do with my daughter in school? Because I
She's
see
getting
what
taken
you're
out of
doing.
school on Monday.
I mean,
For
I've been
sure.
thinking some crazy stuff
That's so
during this
awesome.
podcast.
100%. 2 days.
That's
Yep.
fucking awesome.
I mean, literally
Now
during
you
this
have to do it, 'cause
podcast.
that's just a great story to tell.
I know.
My daughter lasted 2 days in kindergarten.
You know, and Steve Eckert was the tipping of the scales. You know? So, dude, we appreciate you, man. People will see, they're going to know where to find you. All the links will be in this thing. But thank you for spending your time with us and for bringing the fam.
Yeah, it's a blessing to run into dudes like you. It's fucking awesome. Just grateful to meet you too. It's been a great experience.
Likewise. Give us some parting words.
I think men need to realize that their wives are looking for a man, for a leader. They think they're not because the woman probably took charge, like we said, because they're forced to. She's looking for another man. She's not looking for another fucking son. And that's what most men are showing up for in their house, like just another son, a little boy. If we show up into our homes, especially, and make it our house that magical place, get your fucking house in order. That's like the starting point. After that, I could give a fuck how much money I lose in business. It doesn't fucking matter because I'm going to show up as the husband, as the father, as the leader, as the motherfucking man. I'm not going to show up as a little son. Do we act like little bitches sometimes? Sure. And then we got to catch ourselves and get back to being the fucking man and having the responsibilities of what, like you were saying, what it is to be a good man. So stop being little bitches.
That's it.
We'll end it
Stop
with
being
that.
little bitches.
Perfect.